Once a resort, now a nature preserve. This is Rose Island, located in Charlestown State Park. That's in Indiana, about 30 minutes from Louisville, just north of there in Kentucky. I want to show you what this place used to look like, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like today. This is a really good drawing and illustration where you can see there was a cafe, a carousel, down here summer cottages, even a hotel. And it's hard to believe that this once existed because walking around here in the nature has totally reclaimed this area. That is after the flood, the Great Flood of 1937. So what are you gonna see? Well, this here is a good map and illustration. As you can see, there is a secondary trail where you can go along the water, loop back around here, or you can take the primary trail, which is just a half mile. So even if you cover all of this area, you're not gonna be doing more than 1 mile. It's called the Walkway of Roses, a stroll through what now looks like an ordinary park. But in the 1920s and 30s, attracted 135,000 visitors annually, most of them coming up the river from Louisville, Kentucky. But between the Great Depression and the flood of 1937, only small pieces of its history still remain. So just how high was the water? Throughout the island, you see these poles right here with markers. They're light blue to show where the flood was. This one right here, about a foot or two high. This one by the Rose Island cottages. A great place for the cottages because you can see the river just over these trees. The only problem is when that river rises, especially during this flood, obviously flooding those cottages, and this marker here about 5 feet tall. Then there are markers like this one so high I can't even come close to reaching. I'm just over 5 feet. This is easily double or triple me, so we're talking, I don't know, 15 feet in the air. This is all part of the Great Flood of 1937, which is one of the most powerful floods in the 20th century. One of the easiest ways to get up here was by steamboat. The entire adventure took 90 to 120 minutes to get up here one way and cost 25 cents. Let's go ahead and look down at what the entrance used to look like. 3 pillars and a sign right here that said Rose Island, and you see all the people who are enjoying that. So what does the entrance look like today? Well, unfortunately, that kind of iconic iron sign is gone, but there are 3 pillars still standing here where you can see the river behind it. There's nothing better on a hot summer's day than a dip in the pool. The same was the case back when Rose Island was at its height. This was the pool in the swimming area. It's pretty big size, filled in now obviously, but it was constructed in 1934 and was, interestingly enough, the first filtered watered pool in the Midwest, right here on Rose Island. The island wasn't just for playing and socializing, but there's entertainment as well, including in this area where there was actually a zoo. Some of the animals listed: monkeys, wolves, a groundhog, alligators, but the biggest attraction was caged right over here where you can still see some of the metal pieces of that cage, a giant bear, a teddy bear named after President Teddy Roosevelt. This is the marker of the hotel, but otherwise you would have no idea. You know, we've been reading on the signage that there's literally nothing here. There's a couple bricks, some steps, but the foundation has been washed away. What you do have down here, this was an entrance to an area where people could hang out the way that I know this. Come on over here. You can see what it used to look like. So those are the arches that we saw that are still standing, and then just where people were hanging out. But this hotel that's no longer here, this is proof it once existed, but you really can't tell now. It may be called Rose Island, but it is not an island at all. It is part of Indiana, but there is a body of water, the Ohio River on the far side, and then this right here, which is 14 Mile Creek. So how do you get across? Well, there used to be a suspension bridge here, which was shaky and by all accounts that we read, a lot of fun and scary for some people to go over. But a few years ago, this bridge was actually moved right here so that pedestrians like you and I can get across. So how do you get here? Well, you go to Charlestown State Park, you park in the area, you go to trail number 3, and you follow it to trail number 7. That will take you across to Rose Island, where you can explore it and have a lot of fun like we did. Highly recommend it. Just a few bucks to park in the state park. Otherwise, free to enjoy these sights and sounds.